stream here. Let's see how we're doing. Let's see, we get some folks jumping on. Alright, looks like we're online on Mixer. Let's see how we're doing. Ah, there's John on Mixer. Hey, John. And looks like Twitch is coming online. Alright. And I don't want that. See, here's the thing with Mixer right now. Here's what I'm seeing. I can't just have it running in the background. I can't have a dashboard up on Mixer and see what's going on there. Watch things. Keep tabs as that's going on. So I've got Mixer going, I've got Twitch going. Looks like we're in good shape. Alright, I think we're ready to get started. Hey, welcome to the stream. My name is Jeff Fritz. I hope you're having a good day today. Welcome back for those of you that are followers that have been joining me. I'm trying a new time here. This is Wednesday at 2 p.m. here on the East Coast, and I hope I want to see if this works out, see if we get a couple more folks joining us here. I'll come back to the chat room in just a second. So I'm a program manager at Microsoft. This isn't a Microsoft stream, but I am going to be talking about a lot of things that are .NET, Visual Studio types of products, and I hope I can answer your questions if you have any. You could put them in one of the chat rooms, whether it's Mixer or Twitch. We'll see it here. You can see it there to my side. And Steve Fabian, thanks for joining us. Thanks for the follow. If there's new folks joining us, following us, and they click that follow button, my good close personal friend, not really, Steve will announce it right there. Boss Achiever, thanks so much for following. I appreciate you clicking the follow button and joining me here this afternoon. I'll come back to the questions in the chat room in just a minute. I want to make sure I hit my rundown topics here that I want to hit at the top of the stream. So today we're going to be focusing on, I have a Visual Studio extension we've been working on. You can see the recordings of my past work on it on the YouTube channel and also on my blog, jeffreyfritz.com. And we're also going to do some work on an ASP.NET Core project that's going to help us. John Galloway, thank you. I don't need to say anything more. I work with John. But we're gonna take a look at an ASP.NET Core application that's actually going to help with the content of the stream. More on that when we get there. So, the music in the background. I hope you guys can you hear the music in the background all right? Let me know in the chat if it's too loud, if it's just I want it to be subtle and in the background. This is music to code by from Carl Franklin. Carl has graciously given me a license. He's agreed to allow me to play this music in the background, and I need to thank him. I want to thank him for allowing me to use his music. Let me stretch the window here so it fills the entire screen, and he's now making it available as an app on both iOS and Android called Music to Flow By. There it is right above me. I encourage you to check it out. It's free to download. If you get a subscription, you can get great music delivered to your phone every month. Really cool, groovy music that helps you to focus on the task at hand. So that's Music to Flow By from Carl Franklin. Let's see. I'm going to come to some of the questions here real quick. Stream looks great on Mixer. Mizzou, is it Mizzou or is it Meizu? How do you pronounce that? Yev Geller, good choice of music track. Thank you. This is Gold from Carl's fourth album, Music to Code by Chapter 4. It was originally released in 2016, and this is called Gold, and it'll just be on repeat in the background. It's about 25 minutes long, roughly the length of one Pomodoro. And in case you haven't noticed, I try and keep the stream at about 4 Pomodoros in length. Okay, so if you're not familiar with Pomodoro, there's a technique to help you focus called the Pomodoro technique that says you should focus for 25 minutes and then distract yourself for 5. Get up, go to the bathroom, refresh your beverage, whatever your case may be. And I try and keep this at about 4 Pomodoros. What are going to be coding today? We already discussed that. What technologies are going to use besides .NET? So ASP.NET, we're going to be doing... I'm going to be using a little bit of jQuery, and I'm holding off on using Angular because I've got a friend that I want to pair program with who's really good with Angular. You might know him if you're in the Angular community, but I'm going to set that up for in the weeks ahead. I think I have my interview set up all squared away now. Oh no, my viewer count widget here it's misaligned. Look at that. Oh no, that looks terrible. Let's see if I can fix that real quick. I use Streamlabs for all the little widgets you see here on the screen. Let's see if I can fix this real quick. I'm just going to run out to Streamlabs, log in, yes, use my Twitch ID, and let's see if we can make that fit properly, because that looks terrible. My viewer count, and it should be, yeah, why aren't we fitting in there? Let's see, we got Steve Gordon, thanks for the follow. Yep, it is not going to wrap for me. Oh, that feels really bad. Because I want to be able to show, here's the number of Mixer folks that are joining us also. Let's see if we can fix that real quick. Width, let's make it wider. Body overflow hidden, yeah. Nope, it keeps wrapping it for me here. Let's see, so I'm going to look up on this. So I have some custom HTML for this, and I tell it to float left, so it should, there it goes, it's lined up right. Now it fit, alright. Ha! Cool. Alright, so we got about 24 folks watching. Bruno asks, Angular or React? Which one do I prefer? I kind of like Angular. It kind of feels right to me, and that's just me. React, all the pre-compilation, the JSX files, that kind of thing. I got into it a little bit, and it was confusing. It wasn't something that I found very intuitive. You know what? I forgot to turn this lamp so you could see this side of my face. There we go. Now you can see me a little bit better. All right. So that's music to code by. We've gone through and looked at a couple of these things. Steve Gordon. Oh, hey, Jeff. Hi, John. Oh, hello. Welcome to the stream. All right. Next thing, hats. I wear a different hat every stream. It's also, it's a way for me to show off a little bit of my collection, something fun. And it's also a way, if you look at the screenshots of older streams, you can tell if you've seen that stream or not because of the different hat that I'm wearing. Oh, I remember seeing the stream where Jeff was wearing the MVP hat, or the Overwatch hat. Well, today I'm wearing, this is an older hat, this is the Phillies World Series 2008 hat. This isn't the Phillies won the World Series, this is the Phillies in the World Series. I have a number of Philadelphia sports teams hats, and it's rare that we get to celebrate a good season, especially in baseball. So I'm wearing this one here today. Let's check the chat room real quick. Jaco Swartz, good evening. Glad to see you sorted my NVIDIA drivers. Yes, I got those sorted out, and I think I'll talk a little bit about my hardware setup here in a minute. Skull New, hey Jeff, I've been thinking lately about how to roll out Angular 2 and later components to an existing MVC 5 site. Any thoughts on how that might work? Most guidance is all Angular 2 Plus for client with an API. That is exactly where folks are pointing. I would suggest, oh gosh, there's a lot of things that you could do. There's a lot of different approaches to it. And Angular really wants to take over your entire application. It really wants to own things. I would suggest looking at I would really suggest looking at using Web API as your backend support for that, and start pulling out your MVC content and using HTML as much as possible. Is that okay? Is that Deathos? 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 Welcome. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. Skullnew, I'm not sure if you could talk about something like that today or not. You know what? I'm going to focus on Angular a little bit. Like I said, about a week or two. I've got, and actually, in about a week or two, puts us into the holiday. And a little bit later, we'll figure out what we're going to do there. Using the PS4 to watch and the PC to chat. Look at me, I'm on PlayStation. Okay. Could I recommend some Angular 2 resources for some getting started with spas? So my friends John Papa and gosh, who else? Ginny Coy have written some great courses on Pluralsight. You can go there. Cryptrix, thanks for the follow. The docs on the Angular IO site are really good. That's where I learned a bit of Angular. I would suggest checking that out. And there's a couple different places like that you can go. I think there's a gap there that we can address and make that ASP.NET Angular video story a little bit easier for folks to jump into. All right. I want to get into this. I want to start getting into the content, what we want to go through here today. Let me just mention the widgets across the top here. That's my Twitter account, csharpfritz.com, jeffreyfritz.com, that's my blog. The bar in the middle, we have a goal. Once we hit 500 followers, I will host on stream, probably on a weekend, an 8-hour live ASP.NET Core workshop for you to jump on, learn all about ASP.NET Core 2, and I'll be able to take your questions, walk through, and show you exactly the cool features of it that you can use to build websites with .NET and .NET Core. So share news, let people know that you like the stream, and help us get to that goal. We get to that goal, and like I said, everybody gets to see cool workshop all about ASP.NET Core. All right, so and the other things across the top, the current number of viewers, and I've moved it so it now looks bad. Let's see if I can get that back lined up where I want it in the middle there. There we go. And there's 118 followers, which it's not calculating that correctly between Twitch and Mixer. I need to resolve that, and that's one of the reasons for the ASP.NET Core project we're going to look at later today. So let me go over to my GitHub, and this is where I like to start. There was a question earlier, are the projects open source? All the projects that I'm working on here are open source. Nothing is property of my employer. This is all free stuff for you to use, for you to download, for you to contribute to if you'd like. It's all, free. I welcome your contributions. In fact, on yesterday, we had some great interactions. We spent about a half hour, 45 minutes, looking at some of the pull requests from some of the followers, from some of the viewers like you. Check them out. Yep, there we go. There's a link to my GitHub. You're more than welcome to file issues, to send pull requests, to fork it. And you know what? I want to go do this a little bit differently. That's fine. I encourage you to do that. This is all about trying to scratch an itch for some cool code that I'd like to write that I hope you enjoy, and maybe we both learn something at the same time. I hadn't done much localization before, but you know what? Ian and Bruno helped out with localizing a little bit of my Windows Forms code, and now I've got a Portuguese translation for the first project we're going to look at today, EpicBuildMusic. So if you haven't joined me before, EpicBuildMusic is an extension that's intended to make Visual Studio a little bit more fun. I try and tell my kids and folks that I'm trying to introduce to programming that coding should be fun. Coding should be magic, right? Until the point that you actually look at the code, the applications that you write should be magic. Should solve a problem and make people go, "Wow, that's really cool." So this is intended to make it feel a little bit more friendly, a little bit happier. And what we wanted to do was just hook into the build process. And when my application starts building in Visual Studio 2017, just start playing some music or some MP3 that's available on disk that I select in an options window. So this way I could learn how to write options in Visual Studio. I could learn how to hook in and work with Windows Media Player and take advantage of some of those simple features without writing a lot of code, and maybe we could learn something together. And that's what we did. Now we have an extension that you can install, and by default, so that I don't get in trouble with licensing, because there's royalties and licensing that goes with music, we found some free music out there, free sound. We grabbed the modem tones, right? If you're an old-time developer like me and you had to use a modem to dial in to use a BBS or something, you're familiar with those modem tones. So we drop that in as the default music, the default sound effect, while a build is taking place. So if you kick off a build, the modem tones play. Well, now, I've kind of put a stake in the ground that I wanted to get some graphics before I submitted this to the Visual Studio Marketplace, right? An extension without a icon, without any kind of graphics around it, feels bad. Okay, so if you go to github.com /Fritz, Fritz.EpicBuildMusic, I namespace everything after myself. I guess I'm a little egotistical like that. Yeah. So that's the goal here. Is we're gonna start to put in today. I think I have some images here I saw in an email, and I think we have a good icon we can run with, and let's submit it and get it on the Visual Studio Marketplace. So let's take a look-see here. I have a bunch of commits. That's great. Let's take a look at my issues. Here we go, logo, and I've got a couple comments on this. So here we go. So check digits. His real name is Ian. I'm forgetting your last name here, Ian. Ian Barker. Put together a simple icon with a PSD here and attached it to this. So let me grab this, save this to disk, and where'd it go? Downloads. There we go. Let's see what we got here. EpicBuildMusic icon. All right, cool. So I've got a bitmap, an ICO, a PNG, and then the PSD. I think I'm going to grab all of these, and let's put them in. Let's put them in my EpicBuildMusic folder. Let me go up one. So here's my projects that are inside the solution right now. I have my Build Music extension that actually has the things that hook into Visual Studio. I have a core library. This has my user control that I'll use in the options window. And then I've got a couple of test projects and an actual unit test project here that I can use to test and make sure that things are working properly. I'm going to create another folder here. And do I want to call this? Let's call this doc. Right, and let's put under here images. And I'm going to put those resources right there. All right, let's open Visual Studio now and take a look at what we've got. And we can start laying out and hooking this into our extension. And then once we're done publishing this to the marketplace, you'll be able to go into Visual Studio and download and install this. Try it out for yourself. And then we can start, not on this stream, I want to get to the .NET Core app. But you could start contributing, opening some issues, letting me know how we can improve this. I've already got a couple ideas in the works here. All right, so recent projects. Where's my recent projects? There they are. That's a known bug that the recent project list doesn't show right away in the 15.5, the update 5 version of Visual Studio 2017. All right, so here's some unit tests. Let me get rid of some of these. It doesn't matter anyway, really. Now it's saying unavailable for my project. Let me reload that. There we go. Alright, let's take a look at the manifest. So, I could put release notes. I have a preview image that I can put in here. I don't think I have a preview image per se that I want to show for this. So I don't think I need to change anything here. It's the icon that I want to change. Unhandled except, hey, welcome to the stream. I appreciate you joining us today. Okay, so the icon is right now BuildMusic ICO. Let me go over here. Let me add that other, that folder of images. So let me add a solution folder. Alright, and we will call this images, and I'm going to add those existing items. Here, there. Oh, they look pretty good. So I'm going to use the ICO. So let's add that. There they are. So instead of this, I'm going to pull this down. It's under resources. Alright, so I think I need to make it over here. So, let's delete. Delete feels bad. Let me add a pointer to that existing image. No. Where is it? There's my ICO. And I'm going to add it as a link, right? Add as link, for those of you who aren't familiar, allows me to just create a pointer. It doesn't actually move that file into this folder. So there it is. And now I should be able to pull this down. There it is. Now it sees my new icon. I can remove that one. That's fine. All right. So I'm just going to build, and it should build and deliver, drop off that, should drop off all that stuff for me here. Invalid regex file. Could not find build music package ICO. What did I do? Alright, let's look at the properties on this. Included v6 true. I think this needs to be an embedded resource. And do not copy. I think that's what I want. Now, why is it telling me... Let's take a look back at that. Invalid regex. Could not find. So it's VS package regex. This one. Not strings. Icons. Name 400. And it should be pointing to that ICO file. All right. So let's fix that. How can I edit that? I can't edit that. Oh, nice. All right. 400. Yeah. Let's make sure I have all the stuff right here. So 400 linked at compile time. All right. So let's remove it and let's add it. And it was called 400. Yes. Oh, look at all those BMPs. Close that. I want to change that. I want to change the file that points to. Why won't it... Why won't it let me do that? Feels bad. Tell you what, I think I'm going to cheat even more. I'm going to try and delete this. Yeah. I'm just going to rename this. Oh, I can't rename it. Oh, I can't rename it. All right, fine. Let's remove that and then copy this in. And then I'll rename the copy of the file that I put over here to 400. Ah, there we go. That looks good. All right. Save that. Now let's try and build again. And build started, build going, build succeeded. Fantastic. All right. So now I've got an icon. And if I start this, right? No, I don't want to start the class library. I want to start the actual extension. Go. I want to see what this looks like inside Visual Studio. And here comes Visual Studio. This is going to be the experimental instance of Visual Studio. This is going to feel kind of meta, right? We're using Visual Studio to build Visual Studio. Yeah, it works, trust me. Here we go. And unhandled exception. Oh, I already said hello. Thank you for joining us again today. Just taking a look back and forth while we're waiting for my experimental instance to start. See, the mixer dashboard doesn't update right away for me. Yes, I'm online. I know that. It's a little bit strange, but I'm getting used to it. Because Mixer definitely has a different feel than Twitch. Okay, so there we go. There's my experimental instance of Visual Studio. So let me take a look. I'm going to go Tools, Options, and there's EpicBuildMusic, right where I left it, and it's pointed to... There it is. It's pointed to a piece of music that I have that's... It's Epic Sax Guy, right? Do you know the Epic Sax Guy? Maybe you don't know the Epic Sax Guy. Right? I'm going to pause our music to code by here for a second so you can hear the glory that is the Epic Sax Guy while my project is building, because I think that's pretty amazing music. What is that, Programming Zen? LOL. All right. I just saw an emoji pop up in the merged version of the stream here. So let's see. Rebuild solution. Oh, yeah. And because it's a small project, it's done and stops immediately. So I'm pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with that. That makes me feel good. Maybe it annoys you, but it makes me feel good. I'm going to take a look at extensions and updates here. I want to see what... Yeah, see, EpicBuildMusic, it has that default icon in here. And I'd really like it to have my cool new icon. So I'm going to try clicking uninstall. Changes will be scheduled. I hope it actually does it. So here we go, removed. Look at that. Oh wow, it it sees my full version of Visual Studio and wants me to kill this too. All right, fine. We'll close that one too. All right. Now I am using the Enterprise edition of Visual Studio. And it works great, has all the great features that I enjoy, particularly the live coding, the live testing. Live unit testing in Visual Studio is really, really cool. Makes me happy to be able to know and see that my tests are compiling for me. A villainous? Am I pronouncing that right? Thank you for the follow. I appreciate you joining us. In the chat room, Mizzou80, how come you do this streaming during working hours? It's kind of my job. It's kind of my job to talk to folks in the community. And it's also part of my job to know how Visual Studio works and know how the code that we're producing and making works. So this is a good way for me to keep my axe sharp, right? They say developers, you should keep your tools sharp, right? Keep your axe sharp, keep your saw sharp, choose your favorite lumberjack reference. So I asked my boss, I said, hey, I'm doing this streaming thing, what do you think? And they said, well, why don't you try a slightly different time, see if that helps a little bit. So it's a little bit of developer advocacy. You're right, Programming Zen. Yep. So, oh, cool, you gotta help me with how to pronounce that. But I'm glad you joined us, and I hope you do learn something. And we'll get into .NET Core, and we'll get a little bit more basic code in just a little bit here. All right, so where was I? So I restarted Visual Studio, and now since it installed it, is it running on this version of my full version of Visual Studio? And I wish I could. Oh, there is a search. Silly me. Okay, it's disabled here, and it's the older version. All right, uninstall that. Your changes will be scheduled. Blah blah blah. All right, now let me start this one and see if it starts over on the other side. John Galloway, stop streaming and get to work on those TPS reports. My bad. I'm sorry. I'll get right to that. I don't have my red swing line stapler here. I have my Rubik's cubes. Does that do anything? No, that doesn't do anything. I don't have my red swing line stapler. I don't. No. I'll work on that. Actually, that is my username. My first name is Andreas, and my last name is Villainous. Okay. Am I pronouncing that right? Villainous? So, cool. Well, welcome. I appreciate you joining us, Andreas. All right, so let me try, where was it? Tools, extensions, and updates. I want to see my icon, and the icon's not there. Why isn't it showing my icon? I want that icon. I mean, right, we included it. Oh! It's EpicBuildMusic ICO, and it's now 400. That's why. That's what I did wrong. Feels bad. Ugh. Let's see, what is my local time now? Right here, so I'm in New York time, America, New York time. It is 2:30 p.m. for me here. Mizzou, thank you for following. What is it I don't like about Visual Studio? The bosses know what's going on here. What is it I don't like about Visual Studio? Gosh, there's some things with the older tools around ASP.NET that I would love for us to update, and that's really a question of whether or not we get enough folks saying yes, we need that update. There's my icon. I don't like. I know why it's there, but I don't like how our historical and legacy supported stuff for extensions is all in there, and it really. It takes a lot of work and a lot of understanding. Some of it is kind of cryptic, and if you look at the source code for this extension, you'll see that there's a lot of cryptic things that are going on in how Visual Studio works with it. And really a lot of that is legacy because of how Visual Studio was structured. So that we can continue to support features going back through 3-4 versions. So as a piece of code, as an application that needs to maintain legacy features, there's some baggage there, I would say, that'd be really cool to clean up and make it easier for folks like all of us to be able to write more extensions. I think there's a great opportunity to enhance this editor, and I think you're seeing that with Visual Studio Code, where it's very easy to enhance that editor because it's HTML and JavaScript. And it's a blossoming ecosystem over there, and if we could have a similar experience in Visual Studio, I think there's a great opportunity there as well. But we need to be able to backwards support those older extensions as well. All right, so I have my icon in here, my license works. I think I'm ready to tag this and ship it, right? So I'm going to mark this as 0.3.0 because we've added the icon. I'm going to save that. I'm going to go into my properties for my assemblies here, and I'm actually going to update. I'm going to hand update my my assembly versions here. Let me jack up my font size just a smidge because I know on the stream that smaller font size might be a little bit harder to read. So yeah, it's defaulting to Consolus 10. Let me go to 15. There we go. So by hand, I'm updating these, and I'm setting up some time with some friends who really know how to do some DevOps and continuous integration stuff, And I want to set up this project so that it builds automatically with Visual Studio Team services, and we can work with it from there. I should probably put my name in the copyright stuff here. So I'm going to say copyright Jeff Fritz and Friends. All right. And let's go over to this one. And, right, this is the assembly info. Isn't it this one? Assembly copyright. Fill that in. Mads has a ton of stuff available to assist with that using AppVer. You're right, Calvin. Calvin A. Allen, in the chat room. You're absolutely right, and maybe we'll talk to Mads. So I've got a list of ideas for different things that I'd like to do on the stream, and bringing on folks like Mads to talk about these kinds of things, I think is a great idea. All right, so I've got those things saved. I can build now, but I want to make sure I build in release mode. So I'll flip over to release, Control-Shift-B. He's a wizard. I'm reminded of, what's his name? Oh, the big guy in Harry Potter. Hagrid. He's a wizard, Harry. But it's Mads. Whatever. All right. So it build succeeded. I'm going to flip this back to debug mode, and I'm going to go open my command window here. Right. There we go. CMD, because all real Leet developers do source control on the command line. Am I right? Off topic. Any plan of a streamcast on some development with Xamarin? That's a great idea. I like that idea a lot. I'm gonna put that in my notes. I think that's a great idea for a future stream. My friend James Montemagno does have a weekly show on Channel 9 that you can check out. I forget what it's called, but if you go to Channel 9, you search for James Montemagno, you'll see him with his weekly show about Xamarin development. It might be fun to do some live streaming of that. We'll take a look at what we can do with that. So I'm going to go to my... I keep all my projects under dev. So here's Fritz Epic Build Music. Let's do a git status. And here's my new things that I added into the mix here. So let's add Fritz Epic Build Music resources 400. Let's add silly. There we go. Let's add our doc folder, and I should be able to just commit and include those other changes. I am on my dev branch. Good. So let's commit. Updated with new icon and marked as build 0.3.0. Good. Let's tag it. My tags right now are v02 and 021, so I will create a new tag and we will call it 0.3. Fantastic. Let's push that to GitHub and include my tags. Looks good, and my new tag was created. Let's go over to GitHub. Let's make sure we thank Ian. Thanks at Check Digits. I really appreciate the cool logo. I'm rolling it out with v0.3. Fantastic. Let's see. Why did I turn James into a dolphin? Ooh, why did it? I don't know. That's pretty funny, though. I'm going to have to let James know that he was turned into a dolphin. -am saves you a couple of keystrokes. Oh, you're right. I could put those two together in my console window. Okay. Mizzou, you're not using Git support in Visual Studio. You're right, I could. I I'm an old school Git user. I use the command line. I like using the command line for a lot of things. It's old school. There are ways to do it in Visual Studio. I'll show how to use it. And there's some really cool things you can do with Git in Visual Studio Code. And I did a little bit of that on Tuesday. You can see that in that video. But you're right. I'd like using the command line. It's all about choice. What makes you happy? What makes you comfortable? Using it in Visual Studio is a great way to use it. You can use it on the command line. Folks like using it on PowerShell. And some of my friends, they don't want to use it in PowerShell or the Windows command prompt. They actually use the Linux subsystem for Windows. And they do it there in Bash. Right? So they're really all the way into Linux and the command line stuff. That's pretty cool too. So I pushed those changes over here. I should be able to merge it into my master branch here. I don't see. Let's compare dev. What? They are not identical. Didn't I push? I did a git push into my dev branch, into Fritz EpicBuildMusic. What did I do wrong? Why is it telling me that they're identical? Did I anger something here? See, command line failed you. Ah, you got me. No. Let's see what I did here. Git push tags. So it went to C# Fritz EpicBuildMusic. Okay. And it should have pushed v03. So if I go back over to my code, right? And it sees the tag. There's 03. It sees it from 3 minutes ago, and it sees it pointing to this commit, which is, it's tagged 03. There's all my updates. Okay. So, right, and if I look at my commits here on master branch, that looks good. Don't you have to push as well as push -- tags? I thought if you did a push without it, I'll give it a shot. Nope. Maybe you're right. Okay. Learned something new today. Thank you, TBD Gamer. I always thought it included it when you did a git push with tags. But okay. So now I'm gonna do my comparable pull request. Yes. Updated with new icon marked as build 0.3. Good. And I should be able to just do a straight merge. Yes. Confirm. And good. Alright, so now my code in the master branch is updated and is identical to what's in the dev branch. I've got my tag out there. Let me go to my release. Let's update this. Where is it? I can click that. There we go. And now I can edit this. And let's call this first public release. With the inclusion of a new icon, we now have EpicBuildMusic. I have support only for Portuguese translations at this point. If you know a different language there, Andreas, I know you jumped on. If English isn't your first language and you can provide a localization for me, I'd really appreciate a pull request with your language if you'd like to submit that. Anybody else, of course, you're welcome to submit a translation. I appreciate any submission that folks are going to send over to this, because I speak American. It's not even English, and it's pretty bad at that. No, I'm kidding. But I encourage you, if there's something here that you'd like to see, send over a pull request. I think that's fine. I'll just say, oh, I need to attach my binary. So I have that now here in my EpicBuildMusic folder, bin, release. Where's that v6? There it is. And now it's attached, publish. My native language is Spanish. Fantastic. take your time, no pressure. If you get to it, great. If not, that's okay too. So, all right, we're still in good shape. So now let me go over to the Visual Studio Marketplace, and we'll take a look at that. Is Microsoft Virtual Academy offline? Keep getting login failure. Oh no, I don't know. Let's take a, what is it? Virtual Academy, Microsoft Virtual Academy. No, I don't want the reviews. Here it is. And of course I use Bing because that's what all cool developers use for their search engine. Am I right? Maybe? If I go for ASP.NET Core, there are a couple of ASP.NET Core courses here that you can check out. These are free, and you might recognize some of the folks. It won't even let me select it. Oh, that feels bad. You might recognize some of the folks that presented these. So, I encourage you to check that out. Authorization looks down. Oh no. Ooh! Alright. That feels bad. That might make it hard for me to get into the Visual Studio Marketplace. Right, so let me go Marketplace, Visual Studio. There we go. So let me sign in. And if that auth is down, we might have a real bad time. I'm gonna use my public email address and not my Microsoft account, okay? Alright, so I'm logged in. I want to publish an extension. Let's do it. Welcome to the Marketplace, Visual Studio Marketplace. This is the first time I've done this. This is my first extension. So thanks for joining me here. But yeah, hitting sign in right now in Virtual Academy gets an error. Looking at the chat, let me read down. Auth is down. If you're into reading books, ASP.NET Core MVC2 by Apress is good. There's actually an ASP.NET Core in 24 hours book that you can get from Pearson. That'll be available at the end of this month, written by yours truly. It's not updated with the Core 2 stuff, but I encourage you to check it out if you want to get the basics of .NET Core. Alright, so this is my first extension. Here we go. So, create a publisher. To publish to the Marketplace, you need to create a publisher. A publisher has a unique ID, which is referenced from your extension manifest file, and a name which is displayed with your item in the Marketplace. I'm going to have to go back and change my manifest. Let's see. So, ID, I don't want to be that. I want to be C# Fritz. Display name, yep, looks good. By clicking create, you agree to this agreement. Yeah, sure. I agree. Alright, upload new extension. Sure, upload. It's for Visual Studio. Drag and drop or click to upload. Fantastic. I'm going to open my folder here. Go to this. Bin. Release. Where's that V6? Where'd that V6 go? There it is. Alright. Hey, cool. Alright, continue. Index was out of range. Must be non-negative. Well, that feels bad. What did I do? Dino's book is supposed to be out soon, too. I'm assuming you're referring to Dino Esposito. Fantastic. And this is not letting me do anything. Feels bad. There's Steve. Towson, is that how you pronounce that? Thanks for the follow, I appreciate it. Yes, I'm going to leave. It won't let me do anything here. Let's provide a link. Yeah. Because I published that to GitHub, and it's right here. So I should be able to just point to this. Let's see if that works. There we go. Paste it in. Continue. Hey! Alright, basic information. Internal name. An alphanumerical internal name for the extension. Cannot be changed. John Galloway. There are some automatic ResX translators out there that use Google Translator. Would maybe be a good idea to get them started, then have a local speaker review instead of starting from scratch. That's a good idea. Okay, we can do that. I'll schedule that for another talk here. Gosh, is that Reno LNMO? Thanks for joining us. I appreciate the follow. We're uploading a new Visual Studio extension that we wrote together here on stream. So my internal name, I'm going to call this Fritz Epic Build Music, because I know that won't have a collision, right? Contains non-permitted characters. You stink. Ah, there we go. That's better. Doesn't like the periods, so I put an underscore and it looks like we're in the clear. Still doesn't like it. All right, how about a hyphen? Do we like the hyphen? All right, I think we're good with the hyphen. All right, display name. Name to be displayed, so let's call it just Epic Build Music. Version. Note that during edits, the version cannot be decremented. Okay, that's fine. 0.3.0. Let's just call it 0.3. I don't need the .0 in the end. A V6 ID is required. V6 is the term that we use on the team to refer to these extensions. It's V and then 6, so V6. It's required if an extension is to be auto-updated when an incremented version is provided during extension edit. I don't know what that means. What is this value? Software engineer. February could be. I know that's the scheduled release date for the Manning book by Andy Locke. Okay, cool. Can I just call this Fritz Epic Build Music? Does it like that, or is it going to get grumpy? Nah, it looks okay. All right, logo. Let me go grab that logo from our friend Ian that he contributed. So doc, images. I like the PNG. And it wants a 128 by 128. All right, so let's edit that, resize, pixels, and we'll make it 128. That works. So I'm going to save this back into here, and I will just put a 128 on the end of it. Yes, I don't care about transparency in my images. I do care about transparency in what I tell you folks. All right. Short description. Let's make Visual Studio a little more fun. Play modem tones during your build process, or choose any MP3 or WAV file to play from the options menu. There you go. That's not bad. Overview. What's the overview? Let's see what that is. So, mouse over this. This forms the overview or longer description for your extension. Marketplace requires Markdown to manage overview content. Images are supported. Well, you know what? For right now, I'm just going to copy and paste that in. Supported Visual Studio versions. You know what? I know it works on 2017, but I don't know about these older versions, so I'm only going to mark 2017. Let's see. P. Delvod in the Twitch chat room. Personally, I prefer not having a translation than having an automatically generated one. Those are horrible to the point that I have to literally translate to English to figure out what it could have meant. Ouch. Okay, I will take that under advisement. Thank you. Supported Visual Studio additions. This feels bad for me, because look at all these different versions here, and yeah. Calvin A. Allens in the Twitch chat room says, I wish that supported version dropdown could pull the prereqs right out of the V6 manifest. That's a great point. It knows this from the manifest. It'd be great if the marketplace could load this from there. I agree with you, but I think we want this running on all the editions. I didn't know that some of these editions existed. Is there a Visual Studio 2017 Express? I thought we discontinued the Expresses. What's in my manifest for the additions? Let's check, Calvin. Let's see. Manifest. Prerequisites, just the core editor, dependencies, .NET Framework. Install targets, Visual Studio Community. I guess I should be able to... Right? I should be able to put other identifiers in here. Ugh. Do I need to add all these other identifiers? I don't know. Wait, is that... Okay, hang on. I'm looking at my follower, right? So see the follower alert list over there? I'm reading this now. Is that Reno in Missouri? Is that Reno in Missouri? Is that your handle there? Pretty cool if it is. So, and it looks like my face is getting cut off at the bottom of the Twitch stream. Is my chin getting cut off here? I can move that up a little bit if that's a problem. Calvin, do you think I need to revise my manifest here and include those other additions? I think just saying community should work, right? I'm gonna publish it that way and see what happens. Categorization. It's not templates, it's not controls, and it's not... Let's make it a tool. Ugh. What is this one? I don't know if that's specific or this or higher. Well, let's see if we break something. Extension for type tools cannot be targeted towards express additions. Alright, fine. Okay, categories. What do you think? Should we make it build? I think build and coding, I think, is where we want to go. What do you guys think in the chat room? Should we go with those two? I think that's right. Because it's not documentation, or maybe it's other. Finishing up school this year, then moving to St. Louis. Congratulations, Reno. Let's see if we break something. Exactly. What could possibly go wrong? Alright, I'm going to mark this as build, coding, and other. Tags. Epic. Now, I can't stretch the categories option a little bit. My head covers them. Oh! Oh my gosh. That's a problem. Let's see if we can move Firefox a little bit here. My bad. Hey! It's over there. Alright. Sorry about that. There we go. So build, coding, data, documentation, modeling, other. I think we want to do... I think build, coding, and other is where we want to go. What do you think? Let's start there. Tags, epic, music. Yeah. Because eventually, I've got some other things that we're going to do here. We're going to drop in some of these. Firefox, where's Edge? You just used Bing. Firefox is pretty fast. The new Quantum version's pretty good. I like Firefox. It runs LastPass. I could be using Edge. No, I have Edge installed. Kind of have to, right? But I use Edge every now and again. But today I feel like using Firefox. I am an equal opportunity browser offender. Yeah, that's right. Price and category, free. I'm gonna make money. No, free. Community and support. Source code repository. Yes, we have one of those. I'm gonna copy that out of my... And we'll put it there. Allow Q&A for your extension. Sure. Verifying. Okay. Bruno. Bing has Bing Rewards, which I can't use, but it doesn't exist on your region. But it's a cool program. Yeah, I know. Does it run at ludicrous speed? It goes plaid. Can you believe it? Okay, bad Spaceball references. My apologies. But there's our icon. That looks good. We need some ratings here. Let's see. John Galloway. I think it's good for developers to cycle through browsers, right? Keeps us honest, building to open standards and all. Absolutely. In fact, I had one of the bosses actually ping me the other day because my blog, when you go to live.jeffreyfritz.com, doesn't work on Edge. I fixed it, but one of the bosses saw it, and I was like, oh, I better fix that. So, not public yet, but updated just now. Well, how do I make it public? I want to make it public. I want to allow you folks to download this, but look at it, there it is! Oh my gosh. It feels real now. Before it was like, it's a little thing we're working on in GitHub. But now it's like, now it's something real. Let's see here. They did a study and found that people who don't use the default browser tend to be better workers, even when controlling for technical ability. Okay. Mizzou, how hard would it be to build a Visual Studio extension which publishes your Xamarin, Android, or iOS build to a remote location? Well, I don't think you want... So, let's just talk about that for a second. As a good practice, I don't think it's something that you want to be doing on a regular basis, building your application and publishing directly from Visual Studio. Because when you're publishing it from Visual Studio, now you're relying on your machine being the source of truth for where that came from. And if your machine gets corrupted, if your machine crashes, right? If you have a massive hardware failure, now you don't have that machine to do the build and publish from. So that's why things like continuous integration with AppVeyor or Visual Studio Team Services is a real good idea, so you can get that reproducible build. Some folks on my team are actually working on a Docker image that will allow you to build Visual Studio projects from a Windows Docker image. So then you can lock down your entire build process, freeze it in time, if you will, and be able to almost take it off the shelf and run it without having any of the tools installed. It'll have everything locked down and stored for your build server wherever you need it to be. So I think that's a pretty good practice that we're going to see folks embracing more of. But I don't see how to make this public. I want to get back to making this public, and then we'll go on to our .NET Core project here. So it says availability not public. I'm viewing this page as user so-and-so in directory. Yeah. Marketplace is moving to a new Markdown parser, which may impact formatting of your content. Nah, I didn't use Markdown. But how do I make this public? Look at that. Make public. Following extension will get publicly listed on Marketplace. Yes. Hey, now we can go download it. All right. Let's see. Mizzou says the idea is publish it to a service like Appetize IO, for example. Okay, yeah. I think there's an opportunity to use container technologies to make that happen. Yeah. You know what I need? I think I need a visual, I almost want a GitHub repository for comments and questions about the stream and things that we can do. What do you think? If I opened another, let's go over here. I'm going to open another repository and things, questions like that. Let's create them as issues here, so that we can track them and get back to them, and also do things like publish upcoming schedule. So let's call this fritz.livestream comments, questions, and schedule for upcoming streams. Yeah, let's initialize it with a README license. I'm going to make this actually GPL2 because I'm not really committed to any of this stuff in here. Go take a look, you know. So, Mizzou, you had the question about doing that as a stream. Drop me an issue over here in the live stream repository. We could talk about it, figure out what to do with it, and maybe even I'll provide some links off to content from here. I was talking to some of my friends in marketing, and they suggested that we need to have a place to centralize and have folks be able to jump off from. But as a place to contribute to, I want to leave things open so in one place. So come on over here and comments, ideas, things that I can do, post them in here. I had started a OneNote with some ideas for folks that wanted to join and become pair programming on the stream. I'll copy that list over and put it on here with a little bit of formatting with some of the folks that I have committed to it, and then I'll build a schedule. We'll do some fun things here, but I think I need to do some of that off stream because that's housekeeping. I want to get to actually coding here. Let's get back to that. So I'm done here with my extension. I'm going to close out of my extension project here because I'm done working with that. Calvin, I left a review for the extension already. Fantastic. Have you actually tried the extension, Calvin? Look at that. 5 stars. It's the best extension in the marketplace. No Q&A, that's fine. Best music extension available. Thank you. Was that a requirement to actually use it? Okay, fair enough. Teacher's pet, that's right. Cryptrix. Is it Cryptrix? Welcome to the stream. Visible now. Cool. Give it a try. No pressure. And like I said, it was a toy. I wanted to make my development experience a little bit better. And we do have some issues that were created out here for that project that you can see where I want to go with it. Right? I want to have music and sound effects play when we have a successful build or we have a failed build. I want to have celebration confetti and fireworks go off when a really long build completes. And I've got some friends who are really good with WPF who are going to help us out with that. You can check it out in the issues here. And I encourage you, submit issues, submit pull requests. All right, let's talk about what I want to really work on with .NET Core here. I want to work on this project that I started called Rundown. Now, the problem that I'm running into is this is like the crazy train every time I get on the stream here, and I learned that after just a week or two doing this, where I'm responding to chats, we're bouncing back and forth between projects. I want to show a bunch of different things, and I want to make sure that I stay on topic. Right? It's easy for me to get distracted. It's like ADHD on steroids when you're streaming here, because I've actually got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 5 screens around me that are all going together to put this in play. Not to mention the chroma key behind me, right? Because you might not know this, I'm actually in the mountains today. No, I'm on the beach. I'm actually just in my office. And you can't see it, but it's actually a green screen behind me here. So there's a lot going into this to make this happen. So let's make this a little bit easier. Let's tidy this up. And you see all the widgets and gizmos around the screen here and over on this side. It's a lot. That's a lot of stuff, and I showed you it's coming out of Streamlabs, and Streamlabs does a nice job of making these connections, making these things available, and they're all just web pages that we're browsing to and connecting to. In fact, let me show you what it looks like when I go to Streamlabs. Here's Streamlabs, right? So I was already over here taking a look, trying to fix one of the things that I had up there. But there's all these little widgets and gizmos that you can include here. So things like that alert box, it's right here. And I can include and have it do different things for different interactions, right? So if I click this test follow button, right? And that's all configured here. Thanks, Steve. And you can see where I've uploaded those features. The concern that I have is things like my follower count, right? So where is it? Follower count. It's here somewhere. Oh, the follower count is actually being downloaded and it's being built. I'm sorry. That's being built with something else over here that I have to run locally as an application that's watching and reporting back on these, and it's actually not summing the two values. So it's showing, look above me there, it shows followers 121, but when I look on my Twitch console, it shows 117, and when I look over here on my Mixer console, it's showing another value here. It's actually not even showing me a number. Come on, Mixer, show me a number. What's my current number of followers? It's showing me another 21 folks over on Mixer. So I've got 138 people over there. Now the bar up top, the gold bar, is showing 117, and that's correct for the number of folks that I have on Twitch. But I'd really like that to be a sum of the two. Drew Boy, thank you for following. I appreciate you joining us. So it's not a sum of these two things, where I do have it configured clearly to bring back data for both Twitch and Mixer, but it's not summing the two. And as a web developer, well, I want to rewrite it. I want to do it myself. I feel like Tim Allen, right? I can rewrite it. It's a font. It's a little bit of CSS. If I can write a little bit of ASP.NET Core to help me stay on track, then I can have a little bit of code, a little bit that I can show here on screen somewhere that shows here's where I am in today's stream rundown. And I can also put a little bit of work into making some of this look and feel in a way that works for me, and I can put it into then a Docker container. And I can run that Docker container to sync and pull in all the information from all the providers that I need whenever I want it. So that's what I'm trying to do with this rundown project. And you can see the code here, and I've given it a very wonderful README here, and I'll fill this out off stream as I get a little bit more around this. But handy tools for managing my live stream. That's really what I'm trying to do here with this. Let me close some of these things. So extensions. Ooh, am I on the front of the marketplace as the latest extension? Is it here? I'm not on the most popular yet. Okay, so NuGet Package Manager, I used to run that extension, right? But I'm not there. And highest rated, I've got 5 stars. You saw what Calvin submitted. Oh, I'm not there yet. No, I'm kidding. If I make it on this list, I'll be surprised. But it'd be really cool if there was a latest. There isn't. That's fine. But I'm pretty happy. Oh, you can see my... Oh, no, you can't see my bar up there. Haha. All right. I'm actually... So I mentioned I've got 5 screens going here. So I'm running... I have a Surface Book 2 that I'm running the stream off of. DJ Vortex. Volume up while I get cooking for the family. Cool. Hope you have a good meal tonight. I have a Mac over here that has my dashboards up that I'm using to keep track of what's going on in my stream quality on Twitch and over here on Mixer. And I also have over here, this is my Yoga, my Lenovo Yoga that I love. It's a Yoga 910 Special Glass Edition. They only sold it at Best Buy, and the folks at Lenovo were really disappointed they couldn't get it. Check Digits, we published it. We published the extension, and it's got your logo on it. Thanks so much. There's another review from Bruno, and I bet you it says, best Portuguese translation available. Makes Visual Studio fun. Also, if you have a big solution, it helps you know when the build ended. Keep tuned for more. Thank you. I appreciate the review. Gosh, I wish I could have confetti rain down on the screen. Yay, we published. So my Yoga over here, this is the machine that I'm actually debugging and running, that you can see here on stream. I'm going to have a blog post a little bit later today with details about my entire setup, because I've got some folks, some of the bosses, some of the folks at work want to know, how do you have this all set up? What's going on here? Yes, that's a great icon. Thank you. We might want to, there's a little bit of fade in here we might want to clean up, but you know what, I'm happy with how it is right now. That's great. So I'm going to blog about how my setup is structured here. And like I said, you'll see that a little bit later. But I want to start making this a little bit easier for me to manage and work with. So let's, I'm going to close out of there. And if you folks want to publish something over there on Twitter saying, hey, go check out, download, and try the new extension, that'd be great. I wonder if we have more viewers than Windows Weekly right now. No, we don't. Mary Jo and Paul are friends. I'm sure they're killing it over there. They're doing a great job with their podcast. Do not forget about me. Oh gosh, what's this? From Richard. I'm not forgetting about you. What are we doing over here, Rich? What did I forget? I forgot something already. Oh my gosh. What did I promise something? Oh, I feel terrible if I promised something and didn't include it. I'm forgetting something. Rich, if you're out there, let me know what I forgot. Drop me a tweet. I don't remember. I am sorry. I'm gonna tweet that right now back. Uh-oh. What did I forget? I know we had a submission, a pull request submitted to my other project that I have hanging out here. Very quick and dirty icon. It's okay. You know what? Got to start somewhere. Let's start working on the .NET Core code that we have over here. So right now I only have one branch. I only have a master branch, and I don't like working in master long term. As a startup, that's fine. There it is. There's my application out there and running. I like to work in a dev branch. So I've already created a dev branch in that project folder. So this is fritz.rundown. Right, git status. I just created the dev branch. There it is. Let's make sure it's out there. Origin dev. Let me just do git push, right? That's it. I need to do the set upstream. Set upstream origin dev. I really appreciate how for this command line tool, for the git command line tool, if you didn't include that argument, it tells you, hey, maybe you meant to do this. And it gives me the exact syntax to use. I'm keeping an eye over here. What did I do wrong? Cool. Thank you for all the traffic mentioning the stream here on Twitter. I really appreciate that. So let me push. Now I'll have a dev branch on GitHub. Even though it's not different, it's out there, and it's a place for me to start. Now, I started building this project using Visual Studio 2017. You, of course, can use the .NET command line to start building a project. Where is it? Fritz, I don't even have it loaded in here. Let's open it. It's like a Git version of... Oh! Yeah, you're right. That's a great way to describe it. Fritz.rundown. There we go. And my solution. And I've already added Docker support to this project because I want to end up with it. System cannot find the file specified. In the default daemon configuration, Docker client must be run as elevated to connect. Blah, 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 blah. Error indicates that Docker is not running. I bet you it isn't. I bet you it isn't. Docker. Right, so we'll talk about Docker a little bit here. Let's see. There it is. Docker starting. Yeah, Visual Studio, because I've referenced Docker stuff, wants to see Docker running. Check digits. I see artifacts in the icon and a weird fade. I'll fix that. Literally spent 10 minutes. No rush. I am really happy with how it is right now. Thank you. And it'll be easy to fix on the marketplace. Alright, Docker is up and running. Fantastic. Go away now. So the idea here is I want to be able to eventually run this and have it just sitting there in the background in a container and using OBS, right, which is the tool that I use to actually broadcast. I can include and point to these files, and then they'll be included on screen for you to be able to see. Look at that. You can even see, you might be able to see there's a little weird artifact in the corner there. See it above me there? Because the lighting is changing in the room as the sun's going down. Let's see if I can fix that a little bit. There we go. And maybe this one. Yeah, let's leave it like that. All right. So let me, you know what? Let's just do present on. So I have these power tools installed with Visual Studio that will change the font sizes, make it a little bit bigger so you can see it on stream. Let's see, just looking back and forth before I get heads down in here on this. All right, let's take a look. See, so right now I have one page out there at 2. I have one page called index, and it has just a list of here's the items in today's rundown. Right, first task, I want to get my rundown working. Right, I want to be able to keep track of here's where we are on the stream. Yeah, extensions I might find useful. Bootstrap, Glyph Friend. Be great if we could suggest EpicBuildMusic. Kidding, totally kidding. Yeah, sure, let's install these. So, Bootstrap Snippet Pack actually helps you include the Bootstrap CSS framework. Glyph Friend will actually show you what those glyphs are that you're referencing. So yeah, sure, go ahead and install those. Now that I'm a full-fledged Visual Studio extension author, I don't mind. No, don't restart. Go away. Can't bother me with that. I'm coding here. Alright, so very simple, and then I have in my models, I have a rundown item, which is, it can't get any simpler than this. Has an ID, has some text, and whether or not we've completed it in the stream, and then my repository. My repository is all in memory, and I'll tell you why I'm not using a real database, something like SQLite or even a Cosmos DB or something Azure scale. This is something that I want to keep track of and run only during the stream, right? And I want to make this available for other folks to be able to use if they want to keep track of things during their stream. So I want to make this into a little package that only exists for the duration of your Docker repository, of your Docker image, right? When your Docker container is running, keep this stuff around. Maybe there's some configuration you want to pass into it, like information about your streams, your stream keys. You know, okay, let's pass those in as arguments, and then after that, you know, be able to run and not have to worry about persisting state. So I know that's a real developer-y thing to say. Marco, oh man, still having issues at work with the network on Twitter. Oh, Marco, that's terrible. I'm sorry. I had some folks suggest that I should publish also over to YouTube, and I feel like that's too much, including YouTube in the mix here also. I don't know. So this is my list of topics that we're gonna go over on every stream, and I just hard-coded them here in this simple list just so they're there. Eventually I could see this moving out into a configuration file, into a JSON file on disk, loading it up, and then managing those items. But for now, it's fine just to get me off the ground and get this working. I have a very simple repository here that literally interacts with that list, okay? Adding items to that list. When I do an update, I mean, this is how easy I'm going, right? Let's just delete the item and then re-add it. And then delete is just go find that item. So look at my list, find the first one that has a matching ID, and then remove it. So the remove extension method on the list collection only accepts an item to remove. You can't pass in an ID, right? Because list isn't indexed like a dictionary object. A dictionary has both a key and a value. And with a dictionary object, you can say remove and pass in an ID. I didn't really want to get into a dictionary here. I like using lists. A little bit easier for me to manage. So, that's what's going on with this, right? And actually, I could refactor that to a dictionary pretty easy by every time we add it, one of these, just make the ID the key to that dictionary. To each his own. All right, so that's how this works. Now, I created an API controller here, and Marco on Twitter particularly asked about how do you write API controllers effectively? What are good practices around those to so that you can interact with them really well for Angular or React, some of those JavaScript frameworks that folks were asking about a little bit earlier. And I'm cheating here. I'm using the default formatting for this, the default template, which doesn't return a response message. I'll actually return these objects directly. And this is where it starts to feel bad, is when you're returning a void from your methods that you're exposing on your API controller, right? I'm calling it API controller because I'm still kind of old school like that with the old web API that came with .NET Framework. These are all controllers, right? A controller in ASP.NET Core is a controller. It controls both MVC actions and it will control API endpoints. Now, if you name your methods after those HTTP verbs, specifically get, post, put, and delete, when that HTTP verb is received at this route, it will trigger that method. Okay, so that's how an API controller works. So what feels bad is when you're returning void, you're not sending back a message status, an HTTP status code, or any content to whoever sent you that material. Now that feels bad. So what folks like to do is they'll change this to return an HTTP response. And instead of just doing repository update, and see I've got a red line here because I'm not returning a value yet. So let's return a value. Scroll that up so it's above my melon here. So I can return OK. Right? So there's a shortcut method here that says return the HTTP status OK value, right? That status code, and I can pass in information about why it was okay, right? What's the content value that you want to submit about that? Now, for a put, is it okay? What is it we want to use the status message for a put? It's not, there's other things like created. I don't think there's an updated. Is there? No. And there's also a removed, right? Removed? Right? Is it deleted? No. Not this. Base. There's another status that you should use for delete to indicate it. But for this, I'm just going to say OK, and I'm going to pass back the object that we updated. So I'm going to pass back value. So by returning that, right, that's an OK object result. Oh, that's an iAction. Object result is an iAction, right? Result, I think. Yeah, there we go. So iAction result is a it is an interface that is referenced by those HTTP status message results. Check digits is saying you should use delete. Is it? But see, delete is a method that I have here, and it's pointing to my own method. I don't think it's HTTP status code, and there's actually an enumeration there on that. Yeah, see, there is no, I don't have a deleted one here. I could return, now not found. I think I just want to return OK and indicate that I deleted it. RESTful API HTTP methods. Oh, look at this. All right, let's take a look at, I'm going to take a look at this website that Check Digits is referencing here. That was RESTful API.net HTTP methods. There we go. Get, post, put, delete. Delete operations are idempotent. If you delete a resource, it's removed from the collection repeatedly. However, if you call delete on a resource a second time, will return a 404 since it was already removed. If a request passes through the cache and request URI identifies one or more currently cached entities, those entries should be treated as stale. Responses to this method are not cacheable. A successful response of delete should be HTTP response code. There you go. 200 OK. There. Yeah. If response includes an entity describing the status, 202 accepted. If the action has been queued, or a 204 no content if the action has been performed, but the response does not include an entity. Oh, okay. So it's 200 if the response includes an entity describing the status. Okay. Google makes me look clever once again. Ah ha ha! Look who's got the strong Google foo. Okay, so using OK up here is proper with the update that I'm doing with the put verb. But for delete, it looks like I should be returning a 204 no content. So if I wanted to do that, I would want to say, no content. And that would be returning an I action result. Programming Zen says, check update as well. It looks like 202 will be the right one if you pass the value in the response. All right, so let me go up to put. So put says the origin server must inform the user agent via the response code 201 created. Response if the existing resource is modified. Now wait a sec. If the source is modified, we're saying created? Now that feels bad, right? For a post, which you're using to create existing resources, that feels like it should be a 201 created. There you go. Response should be 201 created and contain an entity describing the status. That makes sense. Might not result in a resource that can be identified by URI. That's when you should say 200 or 204 on post. On put, if a new resource has been created by the put, okay, then you want to use 201. And if an existing resource is modified, either 200 OK or 204 no content should be sent. Right. So I am using 200 OK, and Programming Zen is saying 202 might be the right one if you pass value in the response. No, I think we're okay. It's not mentioning 202 here explicitly, so I think we're okay with what we're doing. Let's go up and let's modify the last one. Let's modify get, because get right now is just returning a straight rundown item. Programming Zen says, no, we're good. All right, cool. All right, so no content, okay there. So I want to return this collection, and I think I don't want to do that directly. If I say I action result, right? Now this gets grumpy because it's not an I action result, right? I want to return an OK, and then my value that I'm returning is that. And I think I want to do the same thing here. Let's get rid of that. Make this an I action result. Let's do the same deal. Well, if I don't find it, I should return a 404 not found, right? So let's do that quick test. Let's say var out value equals, and let me grab this, because that's what I want to return. So now let's say if, let's make this first or default. Yep. So first or default says, if you can't find one of these, return the default value for whatever type it is. In this case, that would be a null because it's a reference type, right? It's a class, our rundown item. So if out value equals null, then I'm going to return not found. Look at that. Otherwise, let's return OK out value. There we go. All right. Now, I could make this also asynchronous, but everything's in memory, so there isn't really a reason to make anything asynchronous here. So I will save that, and that should make things a little bit happier. Now, let me go back over to, where's my page? Index. So my page, it's actually querying and getting this stuff server side. Uh-oh, I got a 2000 network error on my Twitch dashboard. Are we okay, everybody? Still on stream here? Looking all right? Crankinator, yay, looks like it was my TB16 dock causing my issues. Great, I'm glad you're here, Crankinator. I appreciate it. I gotta admit, reading and mentioning some of your handles out there is kind of different. kind of interesting. Crankinator. We still look good. Still see you. All right, terrific. It's just my dashboard. Fine with me. My daughters have been elsewhere in the house on previous streams, and they've complained about my choice of hats on some of the streams. Whatever. I know some of my friends out there from a previous employer, Telerik. They're waiting for me to break out my pirate hat. I had a thing while I was at Telerik, watching on. I wore a pirate hat on a number of my webinars that I ran for them. They're waiting for me to wear the pirate hat. Programming Zen says, I might have to start following on Mixer from Twitch. Too much delay when posting. Yeah, I am seeing a little bit of a delay on Twitch. It looks like things are falling behind. I don't know if Mixer is a little bit more up to speed. Not sure. But I'm bouncing off of Restream IO, and that's what's managing that connection for me. Software engineer should wear a Star Wars hat tomorrow. You know what? I need to get my hands on a Star Wars hat. I don't have one. Crankinator says, pretty solid here on Mixer now. Terrific. And somebody else earlier was saying they were watching on their PS4. That's pretty cool. Watching on the PS4. I'd be really nice if we were watching on an Xbox. Hey, whatever. Alright, so I have this very simple page, and I actually wrote onto my admin version of this page a little bit of JavaScript with jQuery just to show, and update my items, and it's reaching back and it's actually hitting my API at this point. So that's pretty cool. Crankinator says there's about an 8-second delay for posts to show up on Restream. Wow. Are you kidding me? Wow. Okay. That is really slow. Oh, look at this. Mixer is saying... Oh, no. That's my video over here that I've... Alright. We are... I'm going to keep going. Because I think... Right, let's just check Restream. Looks like things are going okay from Restream, and I'm okay with things lagging a little bit behind. That's alright. Alright, let me go back to Visual Studio. There we are. So I have a little bit of JavaScript just to log and show me my information and update my checkbox, and it does a put, and it's going back to API items and actually triggering that, that API method. So I'm going to run things in Kestrel, my web server that comes with ASP.NET Core. There's two ways to build your project with ASP.NET Core. You can either build it with IIS Express, the web server that we have that emulates the Windows Internet Information Server, so you can see it, how it would run on Windows. Or you can run it with Kestrel directly in the command line, and you can see it right here if you wanted to make this more like a hosted service and not rely on Windows Internet Information Server. You might use this if you're running on Linux, if you're running on a Mac, particularly if you're on Linux and you want to host behind Nginx or an Apache web server. You would reverse proxy into this process. So you can see there it's already logging some information for me here on screen. And here's my simple checklist of the various things that I want to show and share on stream. And I'll work on my CSS around this so it looks and feels good when I embed it in OBS. We'll work on some of that style stuff next time. Next time, maybe over the weekend, not sure. We'll figure out when to do it. But I want to get some of these basic things down. So I do have these checkboxes. They are working for me when I check them. And when I refresh the screen, it doesn't remember them because I'm on my index page. It doesn't actually update. If I go to my admin page, I get the same view, but if I check these and refresh, it didn't remember it. Look at that. What happened there? I thought my puts were working. Look at this. Look at this. Look over here. I'm getting 404s coming back from my put. That feels bad. What did I break here? I'm going to open my console here. Let's take a look-see. We can figure out what broke here. The server has not found anything matching the requested URI. Put API items ID equals 50. That should be right. So, all right, let's go into this a little bit here. So, I clearly broke something. If I go down to my put, so ID should be coming in off the query string because it's, right? So my base route is API items, and then it should be looking at the ID on the end of it, right? So, that should be the word items. So API items. Oh, you know what? I'm doing that as a query string. It should be a slash on that, shouldn't it? Let's fix that. So it shouldn't be question mark. It should be like that. I'm going to save that. Now, because this is a Razor page, the Razor will be interpreted and reload for me automatically. So I'll go reload this. And let me see. Unsupported media type. The server is refusing to service the request because the entity of the request is in a format not supported. That feels bad. What did I break there now? So now, let me take a look here. I'm going to come to your question in the chat in just a second there because I think you have a very good question. Let's clear this. There we go. And let me check one of these. So there's this. Look at that. I've got a 415 unsupported media type. And it's still doing ID. Ugh. Let me delete that. That's wrong. Refresh. Yeah, it should be just the ID. You're right, Calvin. Alright. Let me clear this. Check one of these. I'm still getting a 415 unsupported media type. And it is going... Why didn't it put the ID on the end? Right? I should have gotten my ID value on the end of that. What happened here? It went to API items 10, but when I look at my... Oh, it is there. I'm sorry. 10. Duh. Yeah, thank you, Dunger Day. Yeah. So let's see. So it's telling me unsupported media type. Well, what type did it push? What was the body that it pushed with? I didn't include a body with it. I didn't include the actual body. I didn't even include my object in the body of this. That feels... No, it's... No, I didn't include the item in the body of this. Excuse me. Where is it? Right. I'm forgetting my jQuery here. Isn't it, contents, right? Contents? Yeah. And then I can include item to update. And then what was it? See, now look at that. My yeah, I think I need content type, and that's going to need to be text JSON. Let's see if that fixes my issue here. Go away. Check. Pending 204 no content, right? We were saying we were going to return 204 no content. Well, wait a sec. Uh-oh. Don't tell me it went down there. Let's refresh. Because, right, my console looks good. Uh-oh. Object reference not set to an instance. So this is an error that happens server side. Ooh, now I've broken it. Items order by ID. Move next. For each. Ooh, I've angered it now. Numeric character did not resolve. Yeah, okay, that's... But it's this, right? Let's zoom out a little bit so we can see what's going on. This should be simple. This should be easy. What am I doing wrong here, huh? It's on line 30 when it's doing the get on my admin. Now, I was calling this a code behind, but it's the page model that... Yeah, it looks like the server and client disagree on that type negotiation. You're right. It's in the repository at line 30. All right, let's go over here. Items order by IID. So it's telling me that there's no ID on the object. You know what? I think when I put that object in, I don't think I captured my ID properly. Right? Let me look at network. Let's look at that request. I'm gonna have to restart my service here because I've broken it. So fortunately, because everything's in memory, I can just start and I can stop and restart it easily. So I'm gonna go down here to where to go. I'm gonna go to my controller and I'm gonna set a breakpoint right here on repository update. Because it's receiving this ID. I think I see where our problem is. I think I see it. All right, I'm gonna go back to my admin page. And I still remember your question there, Programming Zen. I'm gonna get to it in just a second. All right, so I'm gonna show this. So there's my network. I'm gonna click one of these, and here it is. It's doing its put. All right, so there's my 10. Look at that. The value that came in from the body is null. So it didn't receive anything. I'm going to skip over that update because that's not the right thing that it should be doing. And that's just going to give me nothing but grief. So the value didn't get posted properly. Let me go back over here. Let's take a look at this. Let's look at the body. The request body. There was no payload that went up. Data and data type. Is that what I'm doing wrong here? I think you're onto something. So I'm going to go over here. Not contents. Is it data? Data type? When in doubt, consult the docs. API jQuery org. What? jQuery docs. It's been that long since I've looked at jQuery docs. Needs to be data, not contents. Okay. All right. Where is it? .ajax. Looking. There it is. There's content type. Right? But you're suggesting it should be data and data type. And an intelligent guess. So I'm going to force that to just JSON. All right. Refresh that. Click. I don't think it actually did anything. Clear this. Right, because I expect it to hit there. So let me check. All right, so I'm getting that unsupported media type again, and I'm getting this 200 OK from cache. So it's like it's failing over. Let me look here. Server's refusing to service the request because the entity of the request is in a format not supported. That's where we were before. Where'd it go? Here. I think I do need to specify content type text JSON so that it thinks that I'm sending it in JSON format. Even though when I look at the network here... Uh-oh, where'd it go? You know what? I think browser link refreshed the page for me. Alright, we're good. Clear this. Click. There we go. Alright, so what's value look like? Still null. Value is still null, but I have the value there. Alright. Skip that. So my payload isn't loading properly, even though I think I'm using JSON, using this properly, right? Item to update. That sure is my item over here. Content type. There we go. Application JSON. No, it's... I don't think it's actually loading and getting it over there. But we'll give it a try. So clear this. Go. Nope, still null. Still null. Alright, what did I do wrong here? Let me... When in doubt... Hey, wait a sec. That's Edge. See that I'm using Edge? Haha! Alright. Where was it? Let me go back over here. Not HTTP methods. I was over here in Edge and I was looking at Ajax. Let's see. What am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? I want to do a put. Right, so if I'm using data, set process data option to prevent data type error. JSON stringify. Ah, I like where you're going, Steve. But I should be able to pass an object right here, right? I mean, look at that. Okay, it's... maybe you're onto something. You're probably onto the right thing here. Let's do that. So I'm going to go back over to this, and instead of passing that directly, so what Steve is suggesting is, yeah, JSON stringify, and let me wrap that. Where'd the delete button go? I don't know where the delete button is on the Surface Book, because that's a backspace. I don't see a delete button. Oh, there it is. It's above backspace. I was going to say, this keyboard feels different. Let's try that one now. All right, so saved. So, yep, so browser link, right? So this is a tool inside of Visual Studio, updated my page for me because it saw there was a change to it. So I'm checking that. Value, hey! Give that man, Steve, give him a token or something. I don't know. I need to figure out bits or one of those things. Crankinator, yay for Edge. All right. So, all right, my value is here, and does it include properly, is completed true, the ID is correct. I should probably get rid of the character return and tabs here, but I'm not going to get all bent out of shape about that just yet. But looking, so now if I refresh the page, it does properly have that updated. I'll go over here and to kind of simulate what this looks like. All right, so I have my checkboxes. So my checks do work properly for me over here. Let me undo that. Right, so if I check these, actually, look at that. It updated them over here, too. Software engineer, can you change back to text JSON to verify if it still works? That's a great idea. Let's try that. And I'll uncheck some of these. I'm not getting any errors. And they're unchecked over here. On my projects, we use data type and no content type. All right, let's yank content type. You'd think we specified data type equals JSON, it should still work. So let's check some of these. And sure, looks like it's... Oh, wait, that's index page. Right? Yeah. Why is it remembering it over... Nope. Looks like we need to specify the content. ID seems a bit redundant now. Which ID are you referring to, DJ Vortex? But I do think I need that content type on there. Otherwise... Right, so that's working. Right? And it's updating properly and it's loading here. DJ Vortex, which ID is redundant? Let me know. I'm going to go back. Drew Boy says you're getting a null reference exception server side because there's no body being sent across. Yes, that was the mistake that I was making. And earlier, Programming Zen had the question, what are your thoughts on Razor pages versus MVC? Razor pages have a certain web forms vibe. For a quick job, it's okay, but not the way to go for a more complex project. So I think Razor pages fill a really good niche. They feel a really good need, not a niche, but a need, to be able to build something that's really page-oriented. If you feel like building things that are page-oriented, if that's the way that web development works in your mind, I think it fills a really great spot. And that is very web forms-oriented with the page model and the almost code behind nature of it. And you can use controls, tag helpers, those types of things to help out a little bit here. So I think it's a good place for those, and you have a great option for reuse there. So I think that feels a good need. I think MVC is a great programming model if you want to force people into that architecture and into the pit of success, right? We want to keep things separated. We don't want to have issues where people are writing SQL statements in the middle of their HTML. That feels ugly. That feels bad. I like having that separation of model, view, and controller so that I can have my folks who are good database folks work on optimizing models and database access methods. I sometimes call MVC MVCR because there's a repository object that you want that controller to call into, and maybe not embed some of those database interactions directly in your controller. So I think there's a good place for both of them, and it's really a look and feel for how to give you a choice for how you want to write code. Let's see here. Space Shot. Chris, welcome back. If your controllers aren't doing anything to control access to the views, why use controllers? That's a good point. If your controllers aren't controlling access, and that's really a security concern, I think is what you're talking about, why use them? Certainly. If you were using controllers and you were going to pivot and return different view content based on some argument, and some might say that you should pivot view content based on a header, and then you're really more into an API type thing, maybe that doesn't fit your exact needs, and you can write some filters actually to help you with that in the MVC architecture and framework that we have available for you. DJ Vortex says you have the ID in the stringified object. You're right, and that's really just so that I have the ID in the stringified object and in the on the URL line, so that I have it in two places. Yes, I could certainly, let me show you. I could certainly remove this so the put is just receiving the content from the body being put of the body of the request. Space Shots now hosting my stream. Thanks so much. I appreciate the host. That's over on Mixer. Thank you. I appreciate that. So you could do that. You could certainly do that type of interaction by putting it on the query string also, it also prevents a little bit of caching, right? It's going to force that request to only be about that resource, right? And it also looks like the resource that you're going to be getting. So you get a little bit more support around that type of interaction. I am right up against the 2-hour time here. I'm not sure if I want to go a little bit longer. I'm not sure what my calendar looks like here, because I feel like we're having a good time. We're making some progress, and I'm wondering if I should go a little bit longer here. I'm seeing I've got 24 folks there on Twitch, 8 over on Mixer. That's not bad. Let me take a look here. I can't remember if I had a 4 o'clock or not. You know what? I have a 5 o'clock. Tell you what, let me go for about another half hour. What do you say? And then we'll cut out. Drew Boy, the view model for the put should really be geared specifically for the put. Otherwise, you risk the risk of overposting data. Yeah, I think you're right there. Separate. So the concern and what Drew Boy is pointing out there is, if I'm accepting the same object that I am using to save. Scarce7, thanks for joining us. Scarce7 4918. I'm guessing that's because all these Scarce 7s up to 4917 were already being used. So to finish our thought about view models, right? If you're saving the same object that is being put in, you run the risk of actually overwriting fields that aren't intended. But since this is going to be a componentized application that we're really not exposing to other things, I'm not going to run into that issue. I can kind of take a shortcut here, but you are right. That is a good best practice to use a view model to receive that. Randomly generated Xbox username. Cool. Okay. And that's actually not bad, Scarce7. That's not bad. I think one of my daughters, when she signed up for Xbox One, I think the name it gave her was like Old Bike or something like that. I'm like, what the heck is that? Loving that Steve Ballmer is still cheering us on. Absolutely. I think I'm going to leave Steve on here for a little bit, helping us out here on the stream. And I was actually thinking about, the little emojis you can have here on Twitch? I was thinking about borrowing, and if John Galloway's still out there, I was thinking about borrowing our .NET bot and making him into a Twitch emoji. I don't know. We'll think about it. But I'll go a little bit longer here than I was originally planning here. Mixer takes 2 words and adds a number. Yeah, it did. All right. And why is it turning Steve into an emoji in the restream chat? That's weird. All right. So I think we have this working. 20 requests. Some of them are bad. That's kind of cool that we get the little helper here showing me 20 requests, if you can see that. So I think I have that little interaction to update working properly. To update my index. Now, I don't want my index, right? This is the view that I want to embed on the stream, right? I want to burn this in so that you can see what's going on, what's coming up, and the admin, this is the one that I want to have hidden here off to the side that's reminding me, oh, Jeff, here's what's coming up. But I think I'm going to put some style to this. So let's see if we can write some CSS style to go along with this on the index view so that it looks a little nicer. So on index, isn't there a way for me to say li checkbox checked, right? Can I do something like li input and then do something like checked? And I can't use that @ sign. I have to do like double @ don't I? And then I can style this then, right? And if I put this as a class equals checkbox, does Bootstrap check that for me? Let's see. No, it didn't do anything for me there. That's fine. Right? Expect an element name in the attribute selector. Expect a close bracket in the attribute selector. Yeah, I'm alright. I think that's fine. Right? All right. So I thought I could use that to make this checkbox be checked with Bootstrap. What's that with the Bootstrap framework, right? Is this Bootstrap 4 that I'm using? Let me just double check real quick. No, wrong one. Lib, that's it. Bootstrap, dist, CSS. Which version is this? 337. All right, so we'll go to 337. Take a look at the docs. And I thought there was a way to use that checkbox. So again, nice looking checkbox that pops up here. Right, components. Check box. Ah, here we go. Add an optional JavaScript radio or checkbox style behavior with our buttons plugin. Oh, I don't want to add a plugin. Ugh. Buttons, button toolbar. And it doesn't say anything about how to do it. Ugh. Ugh. What's this do? Buttons JS. Cross-browser compatibility. Blah, 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 blah. And it's a button. Type equals checkbox dot checked. Is that what I need to do? I'm going to trust you guys on this one. Input. Type equals checkbox. And you're saying, what was it? Checked. Yeah, I didn't know you could do that. Look at that. I learned something new. Cool. So now I can style that checkbox, right? So... Right? Now what am I going to style that checkbox with? Right? Isn't there a cool glyph we can use? But I'm going to have to... Right? I mean, if I do something like font weight bold... Right? That doesn't really do anything. Yeah. Blinking pink border, I'm sure. All right. Border 1px solid pink. No, didn't do anything. Still reloading. Right? Look at that. Head has nothing in it. Ugh. I'm trying to inspect here. Why isn't it? It's not inspecting. Feels bad. What is all this? Stack page, cookies page, headers page. What the heck am I looking at here? This source is a source to like an error page, and it's clearly not. All right, there we go. Ah, see, it's got the border that Chris was suggesting. For another time, jeffreyfritz.com/feed may have gone on vacation. Uh-oh. Let me just take a quick peek there. Ooh, yeah, look at that. WordPress. It's not behaving. All right. We will take a look at that. Thank you. All right, so that... I want to affect the LI that contains that, right? How do I do that? How do I select the LI that has an input that is checked? Because I'm really positive, right? There's a CSS way to do that. WBW72 is now following. Thank you. Let's see. Chris has a link here to checkbox styles. Ooh. Well, I don't want to style the checkbox. I want to style the code next to it. I feel like I need to write some JavaScript or something. And actually, I don't. What am I thinking? I don't need JavaScript to do that because I'm actually server side. I know that it's been checked, so I don't need. I do want it to be a checked checkbox if it has been checked. So on my input here, let's steal from good old what's this called? Bootstrap. So I have a glyph icon check. Isn't there an unchecked checkbox? Yeah, there it is, unchecked. So let me use this one, right, if it's unchecked. So let me put a quick if statement here. So let's say if... No, wait. Ooh. I got an idea. Input type checkbox checked. Yep, we already got that. And Steve is suggesting li input. Yeah, that'll select the first input, right, when you use the greater than symbol. What I'm thinking here is let's do an I class equals, and then let's select it. Haha. We will say item dot is completed, and if it is, then we will output glyph icon. Glyph icon dash unchecked, right? And otherwise, we're gonna output where is it? Glyph icon checked, right? Glyph icon dash check. Yeah, there we go. Right? Now, why do I have too many characters in category? See, I'm bouncing back and forth JavaScript to .NET, C#, and back and forth. There. That's, I think, what I want. Haha! Right? Feels bad. Feels real bad. Where did my... Don't I have to put a character in here or something? Foo. Oh, of course. Right? Glyph icons, blah, 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 blah. How to use. Right? It should all be there. Span class, aria hidden, true. Alright. Come here, you. And... I didn't put the glyph icon on it. Okay. So I will include that there. No. Okay, so let's dig into this a little bit more. My pink border is still coming back. It shouldn't be. Alright, something's happening in this version of Edge where it's not updating the developer tools. Okay, so let's inspect. Find one of these. Span class, glyph icon check, aria hidden. So that looks like, right? So there's the li. What about the span? So why isn't it picking that up? Programming Zen, normally you'd want to wrap the text for each checkbox in a label element. You can then do, oh, you're right. You're right. Let's, I'm not going to do a 4 on that. And that's over when I'm doing the edits, right? So there's my my label, right, and this thing. Okay. There we go. So I got my label, but it isn't, the glyph icon style isn't being applied. Let me go over to Firefox and let's see what this looks like over there. So that isn't handling it properly. Now I'm wondering, is it not picking up the font? Right, so there's the LI. If I click on that, well, no, look at that. It's not even picking. Oh boy. I'm not referencing Bootstrap. I'm sorry. That was my bad. I'm so sorry. Let's grab the theme. Yeah, now look at it. It's beautiful. I am so sorry. All right, I'm trying to use Bootstrap and I didn't even include Bootstrap. Ugh. Now, because I'm using Bootstrap, I need to have a container body, right? Right? Don't they call it a container? Yep. Get that formatted a little bit. It looks a little bit better. All right. I think we're getting somewhere. And notice I haven't restarted my app. I'm doing all this user interface. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Oh, come on, Drew boy. I tell you. Let's do this. Let's also piggyback on glyph icon, unchecked. No, check, and let's make that green. Nah, dark green. So those that are checked, there they are. They're green now. Fancy. Cryptrix, checked, unchecked, swap. What do you mean? Give me a little bit more about what you're talking about with the checked, unchecked swap there, Cryptrix. We'll take a look at what we can do there. Let's see. Anything else going on Twitter I need to pick up on here? Nope. So, this is cool. Thank you so much for joining me today. My condition is reversed. Uh-oh. Flip the if. Flip the if. Sounds like something I... Never mind. Alright, let me come back. Is completed. Ow. Thank you. That's better. Yay, yes. There we go. Alright. So now, let me go back to what some of you had up there. I can then do input type checkbox checked plus label. So here's... Drew Boy, sorry, the lag via Twitch is rough. I'll switch to Mixer next time. By the way, I'm amazed there's no UWP app for Mixer yet. It might be called Beam. Beam was the name for Mixer before it was acquired. I've redone the EpicBuildMusic icon to be more beautilicious. Put in a pull request. It's not FTL on Mixer either. FTL? For the loss? For the FTL? Full-time losers? No, what's FTL? Front to left. No. Help me out. I am TLA impaired. 3-letter acronym. Alright. Let me go back over here. Faster than light. Ah ha ha! Okay. Sub-second latency over there. But you can't multi-stream and use FTL. Alright. Let me see what I've got here. So we've done these couple things. And when I'm actually showing it, if it has been completed, I'd like the label to be checked. Faster than light. They're near real-time video stream tech. So that's Mixer. Okay. Us Mixer people are spoiled. Well, you know what? They're not showing me on Mixer. When I look at the analytics, they're not showing me anything about my speed that I'm streaming at. And in fact, my stream stats console shows nothing. It's empty. It's like, I don't get that. But, hey, whatever. Alright, let me, latency, not speed. Gotcha. Drew Boy, no BMAP either. Hopefully it's coming soon, considering they have the Xbox app. Yeah, right? So I think I'm at as far as I can go here today. So I'm going to go over here and kill... there it is. I'm going to stop my Kestrel web server from running. There it goes. I'm going to... Let's do a git status here. Let's commit those changes. -am, I'm using AM altogether. I forget who suggested that earlier. I'll use that as one term instead of two switches. Updated look and feel of index and improved controller to respond with proper HTTP status messages. And I will git push to clean up here for the end of the day. Fantastic. So now over here, let me refresh. There's my dev branch with the changes. So, I've cleaned up the look and feel here a little bit. I've got one or two more things that I want to do. I don't want to put Signal R into this just yet. I'm going to put in a request, just a request every 2 or 3 seconds to refresh my checkboxes. I'll work on that, or if one of you wants to take a look at that, that's what I'd like to do for next time. But I feel like I'm almost there with where I want to be, so I have my simple list. I'm probably going to want to have a text box so I can key in new items and have them easily added to it. That's going to be pretty easy for me to build and put on the admin page, and then I'll be ready to use at least my little admin tool and embed in just in another stream or two. I like the progress that we made with EpicBuildMusic. I'm thrilled that it's published and it's out there and folks can download and use it. And let's even see if we have any downloads. 2 ratings, the most popular at 5 stars, even though nobody's actually installed it yet. Yeah. Ian dropped us a message there in the chat room. Looks like he's got an updated icon that we can use there. I'm looking forward to adding that into the mix. But I think next time we'll spend some more time working on the ASP.NET Core app, get this a little bit further along so I can, it feels weird, develop stuff on stream to help the stream. So we'll give that a shot. Calvin says, I started to install it but realized I only had 2015 and not 2017. So maybe we need to do something to make sure that the add-in works in Visual Studio 2015. Let's create that as an issue. Needs to work in VS 2015. All right. Scare7, by the way, I noticed that there is a sound setting in Windows Sounds for Visual Studio build, fail. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? System sounds. Program events. There's Windows. Visual Studio. Breakpoint hit. Build canceled. Build failed. Build succeeded. but there's nothing for during build. But damn, it's over here. I'd like it all in one place though. Visual Studio Community 2017 is free. Yep. Suggesting, can we cover sharing a controller between an API endpoint and an MVC app? Sure, let's do it. Let's take that as something to do for next time. You know, yeah, we can make that happen. Not this one. Issues. Show Geek with Kids, thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. We're about to wrap up here today, but I will have a recording available for you if you want to come back and check it out. So we want to say what DJ Vortex is asking for is show controller use, show ASP.NET Core controller use for both API and MVC. One controller, mixed endpoints. Fantastic. We can do that. So we'll put that in for next time. So that's where I'm going to leave off here. I'm going to add some more content to this live stream GitHub repository. I have a blog post that I'll write up to wrap up everything that we covered here today, along with links to the extension. If you want to encourage folks to download the extension to join us next time, I'd really appreciate that. My next stream will be tomorrow morning. Tuesday and Thursday mornings, I stream at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. I know that's 7 a.m. on the West Coast. Might be a little bit harder to do, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to test today at 2 p.m. Eastern Time to see if that worked out a little bit better for some of our friends on the West Coast. So this is all a test. We're seeing what works, what doesn't work. So tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. East Coast, 7 a.m. Pacific Time, if you want to join me, I'll be on. But things will be recorded, and recordings get posted to YouTube. And like I said, a wrap-up post goes on my blog, jeffreyfritz.com. You can see that there above me. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me today. This was really good, and really is pointing me towards I need to do an afternoon stream. I think that's got to be something. And I've even heard some folks say I need to do a nighttime stream because they can really get on and watch this stuff at night. They're blocked from being able to access this while they're at work. So thanks so much, and I'll see you next time.